Hello and welcome back to another episode of Talkin Yanks player profile and projections. We are talking about the high leverage bullpen, guys. The back end of the bullpen. We're talking about Chapman, Loaisiga, Chad, and Clay. Maybe Wandy should have been part of this crew. Just love him so damn much. It's brought to you by the Warehouse Games on YouTube. If you want to see Jake, combination of Nestor and Glaber, subscribe. Jake, are you excited about the bullpen?
James, I am. The bullpen is good. This is where I usually say spoil the Yankee fans. You know, we sometimes get mad about Aroldis Chapman, and then you look at some of his stats compared next to people. Johnny Loaisiga with that breakout year that we had been hoping for. Chad Green with an emotional year. And how about the Yankees' breakout guy of the second half last year, Clay Holmes, who, man, talk about passing the eye test. He was electric. So excited to see what he looks like this year, and he comes from a long line of Pittsburgh Pirates that leave Pittsburgh, and suddenly they're so much better because they use technology and information to try to pitch better. So I'm excited to talk about this crew. It's a bummer that we're not talking about Zach Britton in this crew. TJ out for the year. That's kind of the end of his tenure as a Yankee. And I guess I was a little surprised that another higher end type guy didn't get added to the mix this offseason. Or a guy that we would have similar to Wandy Peralta. But as we gone through the bullpen, we see there's guys without options and everything. So they're kind of, they're locked in.
Yeah.
Which might not be a bad thing, by the way. The Yankees bullpen was really good last year.
Yeah, the bullpen, it's fine. I think I had it as my last need when we did that episode.
Missed a lot of needs this offseason, but
no, what are you talking about? Locastro in center, Rizzo at first, Donaldson, Izzy,
Pitch, Joely. Enough of that. Fourth in ERA last year for the bullpen. Good.
Fourth out of 30 teams.
Yeah.
Are you surprised? Should we not have is having Clay Holmes, like, should he be part of that Wandy crew? We're like, if but like, is it a little too much to put him with this crew?
I mean, no, just because
I don't think so, but you get what I'm saying? Like, he only did it for like, what, 10 games?
I think it was a little more than that, because wasn't he not like pure deadline?
No, he was
25 games total.
Like 25 games. That's...
Well, I meant like high leverage.
I think he ended up there quick because it all started that time of year that like Albert Abreu was high leverage. Like Clay Holmes kind of stumbled into it. 28 innings, a 1.61 ERA, more strikeouts than innings pitched. The two-seamer was insane, and the breaking ball was good too. He deserves it. I mean, we ended last year. And if we start this year, like, if Clay Holmes looks like Clay Holmes, like, he can jump Chad pretty easily.
Or 19 of the 25 were like a tie or ahead within 3 late.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. Do you want to start with him? How do you want to organize this? My biggest gripe with all of these guys is they always give up homers at bad times.
Yeah, they sure do.
If we have anyone listening to Talking Yanks for the first time, or you're a baseball fan for the first time, start calling out the fans that say that, because they stank. He always gives up home runs when it means the most. Yeah. It's a high leverage bullpen guy.
Yeah.
They come into 1-run tie games with a lot on the line.
I will say.
Yeah.
Chappie from 2014 to 2020. Most home runs he gave up in a season was 3. He gave up 9 last year.
He had the amazing start, and then
start,
just brutal, where he had to like change things, go back to the lab.
I mean, we should do Chappie because there's really not a ton to say.
Well, they are using him different now, which they came out and said. Booney said it, and it's pretty smart, and It's kind of ridiculous. And it goes against everything you're frustrated with, where they will only use him in save situations and they won't pitch him otherwise because he's like old school and they're paying him all that money. And they came out and they publicly said, we're going to use him in the 8th inning, like road saves. So say the Yankees are down by 1 on the road in the 8th inning. So the bottom of the 9th might not exist. They said if they're down by 1 or whatever, they'll use him in the 8th inning to hold it as down by 1. So the Yankees then can treat the top of the 9th as like the bottom to try and like tie it or get the lead, because he does fall into the rust category. Like if he hasn't pitched for a while, he's not regular, and then it takes him forever to find it, and he walks people, and then it's a nightmare. So I hope they stay true to that, and it's not just spring training fodder, and we do see him. I mean, if it happens, it's probably like 5 times over the course of the season where like that scenario like really plays out and works out, where Chappie hasn't pitched in a while. It's the 8th inning. But I do hope it happens.
And that doesn't really solve my problem. My problem is baseball's changed, and a guy like Liam Hendricks is not afraid to come in and pitch an 8th inning or a 7th inning. Like a lot of closers around baseball have evolved that when it's their time to go, they go. And the Yankees / Chappie don't do that. So we'll see. I mean, again, of the list of Yankees problems last year, Chapman had that tough middle stretch, but outside of that, like he wasn't really the problem. I will say his numbers compared to some other years, like the walks and the home runs, circle that. But I think you can butter knife his numbers outside of his rough stretch that he lands okay, and he's going to be the Yankees closer. Like,
he had a pretty tough June.
I don't think there's ever going to be a Talkin' Yanks episode this year that it's like, well, Chappie's setting up Chad now. Like,
there may be. I mean, in 2017,
he can have a slump.
Yeah, he got demoted. We've seen him get demoted in his tenure.
But not demoted to, like, setup guy.
Yeah.
Like, demoted to, like, fix yourself.
No, he got demoted to setup guy in 2017 or 2018. Betances became the closer, and he became the 8th inning guy.
We'll look that up, but...
Yeah.
Okay. Do you see any of these guys being primed down to Betances, though?
Lasagna, yes. I mean,
really?
Lasagna
okay, let's talk about it.
Lasagna's better than him right now.
Okay, now we're talking. Let it rip.
Have you seen Loaisiga's Baseball Savant or like his numbers?
Yeah, I sure do. I love him. He's been my guy for a while.
He fixed his pitch mix because I tweeted in 2020 like, hey, why don't you have him throw the fastball that's good and stop throwing the fastball that's bad? Well, guess what happened? The sinker went from 24% to 55%.
At Blake.
And the four seam went from 42% to 0%. Because the four seam got hit like crazy. And the sinker is really good. And his curveball had a 50% whiff percentage.
That's good.
So his secondary pitch was nasty. Laza is really good. Laza is primed for when right now, the way it's set up, that he is primed to take over as the closer. This is Chapman's last season, right?
Chapman is in a contract year.
This is Chapman's last season, and Loaisiga has 3 more left, and that's why I think this would be the year where if Chappie has a tough stretch where he's giving up a ton of runs like last June, they would say, hey, let's let Laza hang out in the 9th inning for a little bit and see what he's about, because next year he's our closer and you're probably gone. So, yes, I do see that as something. I was going to say that I probably would predict that happens at some point.
Wow, okay. That's hot. I love it. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm as big of a Johnny Laza fan as you'll see. I've been hammering the table for 3 years to give this guy more run. And, yeah, he has an awesome year last year, the 2.17 ERA. A crazy banging here. There was one of those before. You guys didn't flinch. I was wondering if I dreamed it.
I heard the one before, but that like shook this wall.
What's going on?
I felt that.
You felt
in
that.
my feet.
Are we under siege? Oh, it's after 5. That's the upstairs is probably starting there.
They probably just dropped a bunch of sandbags right above our head.
Jesus. We're okay. Johnny Lasagna last year, 70.2 innings pitched, a 2.17 ERA, less than a strikeout per inning. So not necessarily your new age strikeout guy, but that 2-seamer has so much run on it that he's a weak contact king. And that breaking ball, like you said, that can be his wipeout pitch. So I'd be interested to see that. there's a part of that would be really fun because, last offseason I was on should we trade Chapman? Because I don't like the season ending when he gives up home runs. And he has a big salary in the bullpen that's kind of not how bullpens operate anymore. If the torch is passed, that'd be really cool, but it's more, I can see Johnny Lasagna closing games for the New York Yankees. It's tough for me to picture Aroldis Chapman being okay with a setup role for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, well, he would just have to be slumping to the point where they're like, you're
right.
done. You're out, Four Eyes.
And that's where it's almost like he's not, at that point, if he's slumping so hard, you're fixing him, not setting up.
Yeah. But I don't know.
You have Johnny penciled for a repeat?
Yeah, I think he's really, really good.
I like it.
I love the two-seam. I like the movement. Not much to say about Loaisiga. We can watch a random video and then just say, I think he should be good.
Okay.
I mean,
that
I like tangible changes. There's a tangible pitch mix, and then the results come. So let's just keep that going. Grounds out. Third baseman Gio Urshela to first baseman Luke Voigt.
Ground ball to Urshela.
Easy. Why is he in the fourth inning?
Play at first, and that'll do it. Seattle scores.
2019.
I'm so glad that they didn't Sessa Loaisiga and wait way too long to say, hey, how about this kid just becomes a high leverage guy?
Yeah.
It took a little longer than we would have liked, but Sessa took 5 years.
Yeah, he had the injury thing because he does have 3 pitches, man. His changeup is a really nice pitch when he's right, too. That I drank some of that Kool-Aid, but his injury history throughout the years, 70 innings pitched last year was huge for Johnny Laza. Although if Johnny Laza becomes a multi-inning guy, don't be surprised if that conversation leaks out. If he could get up to 100 innings this year, let's do what works with Johnny Laza because last year was awesome. He's a badass and a great nickname.
Okay, Clay Holmes, we can talk about him. He's sinker crew again. One of the things about Holmes and Loaisiga is they both kind of feature the same pitch. So sometimes I think Coney talked about this one, to put them back to back.
It's interesting. I see what you're saying.
I guess they're not facing the same hitters, so that's okay. But if you are, maybe it's a similar look, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think between bullpen, maybe that's something we'd talk about in a playoff series. That's a little concerning, but a regular series, I don't know. I mean, I feel like Johnny's is a little more down, Clay's is a little more side to side, and the breaking balls are a little different. Clay Holmes with a funky little baseball savant page, if you're into that kind of stuff. Everything is pretty much lit up red except the chase rate. Guys just don't chase his stuff. I don't know what that's about. Interested to see with Clay because let's be honest, last year was his first taste of success. We've heard from people inside the Yankees organization he is a data nut. I think Tyone told us that, right? That he's Clay Holmes, you can't give him enough information. He wants to be processed.
Yeah.
So interested to see, Johnny has his breakout year as the young guy. Clay has his breakout a little older, but the talent's clearly there. So just excited to see what year 2 of that looks like, or if there is any reliever regression, which is tough because it's the easiest spot to regress at.
Yeah, it's very
you go through
volatile.
one funk.
Yeah.
You're having a bad time.
Which brings us to Chad Green,
sure does.
More of a lightning one of the biggest examples of he gives up runs when they count the most. He did have more of a down year last year. I mean, a lot of the numbers still will say Chad Green's one of the best relievers out there. I think the problem with Green is a lot of the games that he blew in a bad way came to against rivals, Houston and Boston. So you had more casual fans watching that get a little bit more angrier. He had 50 outings of no runs, got the job done. He had, I think, 10 where he let in a run, something like that, or blew the lead out of 67. But, I mean, all in all, it did feel like a lesser year from Chad. And maybe that's because Lasagna was there and Clay was there and you had all these other bullpen guys stepping up. But you go around the league, Chad is still a good reliever.
Yeah, and more so with the home runs because all high leverage relievers, when they give up a home run, it's at a bad moment 98% of the time. Chad, I'm remembering the stats from last year. Didn't he lead relievers in home runs given up and stuff? By the end of the year, there was some stuff on Chad.
He has since 2019. It's
Right.
some arbitrary number you go back and he's given up the most.
So we love Chad Green. If you're looking for Chad Green hate, you're at the wrong spot. This is a guy, and you were on this point the most. How much could a Michael King or another reliever have saved Chad Green from some wear and tear? We've heard some weird stories inside the Yankees camp about some of the pitching usage last year. Chad,
we heard a lot of times that Chad is told he's not going to pitch, and then for reasons unbeknownst to Chad, all of a sudden he goes from, hey, you got the day off today, to you're in there against Houston.
fired up.
And he was like, what?
Fired up. So we will see. Chad, there's no reason going into the season that you should doubt Chad Green at all. It's just, eyes will be on him early. A good start's pretty important to him, especially with the Clay Holmes breakout, Johnny Lasagna breakout. Chad Green for a while was our, how important is this dude to the Yankees? It was kind of like he was the fireman. He was kind of the number one reliever. And I don't know if he gets off to a slow start and everything else is real, Chad's kind of fourth on the depth chart, which could be badass or could be what's up, Chad?
What's up?
What's up, dude? Career 3.17 ERA.
Fell into tipping his pitches at one point last year against the Mets, was that? Didn't the Mets?
I think so.
I think he had a Mets tipping pitches game in 2020.
That was 2020?
But I think he had something else last year. There was a week where he was off there.
He pitched 3 innings against the Mets last year?
Jeez.
Let it eat.
What the fuck?
Probably wasn't that game.
I mean, they also really used Chad last year. He had 83 innings pitched, the most he ever had, coming off 2020. Appeared in 67 games. Wasn't he up there for most innings or most appearances?
I'd have to look. There's probably innings from a true reliever if you measured it out. There's one inning / get out of inning guys that probably had more appearances. Because like you said, Chad, pitched 3 innings one day apparently last year. Chad sometimes has the extended outing that not all bullpen guys are wired that way.
Like Brian Shaw.
Like your guy Brian Shaw.
Brian Shaw.
Going back to Cleveland. What what do we do? Is it who would we buy the most stock in of this crew?
Laza. That's as easy as it gets. So,
Clay's got an argument.
So, of all pitchers that pitched in 65 innings or more, there are only 2 that had 80-plus innings. Chad's one of them. So 65 or more games appeared in to have more than 80 innings. So you're pitching a lot, often. Sorry, there's 3. One guy just had it. Or there's 4. Still a small crew. So you're pitching in...
You have to be an odd amount of available and successful to do that.
What's 65 divided by 162? It is 40% of the games. So you're pitching in 40% of the games, and when you are, it's not just for 1 inning, it's for multiple innings. It's Chad Green, Craig Stammen. Stammen. Tyler Rogers on your Giants. And Giovanni Gallegos.
Some good company there, by the way.
Because you have to be trusted and good. Right. But also, that's a lot of wear and tear to be leading the league in, high up in appearances and then innings as well. So maybe they let Chad rest a little bit to start the season. I don't know.
26 of Chad's appearances were 1+ out of the 67. And only 6 were less than an inning.
For a while last year with Wilson being a dud, O'Day getting hurt, Britton getting hurt, and they didn't fully know what Loaisiga was. They didn't have Clay Holmes. It was really Chapman and Chad, and Litke were the guys.
Yeah.
Laza obviously became it, but we just saw a clip, or he was not fully there yet.
Yeah,
that was 2019. Yeah. But still, my point is they really leaned on Chad while they were figuring out. They traded for Wandy, they traded for Clay, and all that other stuff. So hopefully now they can not have to do that.
Yeah, and that's why I thought another body would find their way. Because Wandy, we didn't even lump him with this crew just because I think we want him to beat me up at this point. Clay, it's the Yankees' breakout season. Outside of that, the numbers aren't that good. Johnny Johnny Lasagna has his breakout year. Awesome. Let's do it again. And then Chad, got a little worn out. So that's where I thought another body got in the mix. Because like you're saying, you just said, hey, let's ease Chad into it this year. I don't know if we'll be able to.
With the expanded bullpen, they should be able to ease everyone in April. If anyone gets overtaxed in April, that's a bad job by the Yankees.
And I think the 5 send-downs maximum rule, I think they don't start counting those till May.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Probably.
We should be coming out of April and being everyone's pretty good.
How about some blowout wins? Remember how much we were looking for that last year?
Yeah, never happened.
God, that's the thing. That's where I get a little nervous for April. But Josh Donaldson, huge grand slam.
You heard it here first. Do we want to watch a random video for the rest of these guys? Do we have over-unders for these guys?
We do. Do you want random videos first?
They wear
I
hats.
guess sometimes the random videos take a little bit to load.
They'll wear hats.
Clay Holmes, random video.
Come on. Okay.
Foul to Jesus Aguilar.
Oh, nice pitch.
Yeah, it was a nice pitch.
Got in on his hands there.
Nice pitch.
Won't get hurt there.
Nothing you could do with that.
Aroldis. This is a long career.
A long.
Yeah, throw out the over-under.
Clay's Holmes over-under 40% of appearances in the 8th inning or later. So over-under 40%.
Under.
Say it again.
40% of Clay Holmes' appearances in the 8th inning or later.
8th inning or later.
I think he's currently the 6th inning guy.
40%.
I think he's currently the 6th inning guy. So under for me.
I'll go under.
The days lasagna's not available.
Oh, no. A horrible toss from Chapman.
Don't like that. Really don't.
3-1 pitch behind his head. Message pitch. He knows what he's doing. And
Chapman's over under 32.5 saves.
Ooh. 32.5 saves for Chappie. Under. Yanks are going to blow him out so much.
I think 33 saves total the last 2 seasons.
He had 30 last year. 37 in 2019.
Called strike to David Dahl. Oh, this is still Chapman.
Oh, Jim, that's a really good point with the blowouts because of the Donaldson.
All those
grand
Donaldson
slam.
grannies.
Loaisiga 50% sinker usage over under.
Ooh.
Over.
Over with Chappie.
50.5. Chad Green random video. Foul to Luis Gourmet.
3-2 pitch.
Was it a good
Classic
pitch?
It was solid. I mean, that was Chad Green and that was Luis Guillorme. 100%.
And he's a bat-to-ball guy.
Chad Green's over under 59.5 appearances.
Over. I don't care. I just hope the appearances are like 1 inning or like a little less to keep it less on Chad. But I still think
the number of 4 out plus.
Still think he's going to be in the mix a ton.
To be down.
There you have it. High leverage bullpen episode. Done. These guys are good. The Yankees have a good bullpen. If anyone is like in the comments like these guys think, they like you just sound dumb because the Yankees had the 3rd best bullpen or 4th best bullpen in the league last year.
Fangraphs has them as the best bullpen.
Chapman
and they were 4th best last year.
Chapman, Chad Britton, all free agents after this year.
Damn.